Developers have always known that documentation is essential, but it's rarely their favorite task. It's time-consuming, often falls out of date, and usually trails behind real-world implementation. But imagine if your documentation stayed as current as your data, automatically generated, enriched with visuals, and maintained just by asking natural language questions. In this demo, we'll explore how Claude connects seamlessly to Databricks, Power BI, and Atlassian's MCPs to completely transform the documentation experience. You'll see Claude extract schema details directly from a Unity Catalog in Databricks, build rich documentation pages in Confluence, and do the same for a Power BI semantic model, all in minutes. And because great documentation involves great visuals, Claude also creates and embeds images to illustrate models and data flows. Using the Claude Chrome MCP, it formats Confluence pages beautifully, posting images, updating text, and maintaining structure automatically. What makes this powerful isn't just the automation, it's the conversation. Developers can now generate, visualize, and maintain living documentation through simple natural language prompts. This workflow redefines productivity, making documentation as effortless and dynamic as development itself. So let's jump into the prerequisites. To get everything working, the Power BI and Databricks MCPs need to be installed locally and connected to Claude Desktop through the developer configuration settings. Be sure to check out some of my previous videos on steps for setting up the Power BI and Databricks MCPs. You'll also need to add the Atlassian Rovo MCP. This one is available out of the box with Claude, so it's quick to set up. Finally, make sure to install the Claude for Chrome MCP extension, which allows Claude to directly interact with your Confluence pages, creating, editing, and formatting content automatically. And if you prefer using Microsoft Edge, that extension works there as well. To begin, I'll first confirm that the MCPs are active. I'll ask Claude whether it has the necessary access and to list the available functions within each integration. Now that we've confirmed the MCPs are active, I can start constructing the prompt. This first one is fairly detailed because I wanted Claude to generate the Confluence page exactly to my specifications. At a high level, the prompt tells Claude to locate the right Confluence space, create a new documentation page, and generate a complete set of diagrams representing the data pipeline, the segmentation data flow, and the data lineage. It then uploads those visuals, embeds them into well-structured sections, and adds tables describing datasets, metrics, and governance details, all automatically from Databricks Unity Catalog's metadata. Later, I could streamline this entire process into a reusable Claude skill for documentation, so I wouldn't need to include all of these instructions each time. Here's the page Claude just generated, a fully structured Confluence documentation page with a robust pipeline flowchart, detailed data lineage, asset reference tables, a business metrics glossary, and governance summaries. The value here is massive. Instead of developers or data engineers spending hours reverse engineering the model by hand, Claude automates the entire documentation lifecycle. Every layer of the pipeline, every key column, every metric definition, and every governance rule is captured in one living, visually rich page that stays in sync with the underlying data. That means faster onboarding for new team members, clearer alignment across analytics and engineering, and auditable, up-to-date documentation that doesn't rot over time, all driven by a single natural language prompt. This is what it looks like when documentation shifts from a chore to a first-class deliverable. Now, I'll do something similar for the Power BI semantic model. Here is the PBIX file I'll use, which is a direct download from Microsoft's PBI sample files. It contains a pre-built model and measures. This prompt tells Claude to locate the same data and analytics Confluence space, create a new documentation page for the store sales BI model, and generate 3 custom diagrams directly on the HTML5 canvas: a star schema, a KPI and a measure map, and a data flow lineage diagram. It then uploads each diagram as a PNG attachment, embeds them into a structured page layout, and describes the tables, measures, and governance rules, all pulled automatically from the Power BI semantic models metadata. Again, this is currently a detailed one-off prompt, but the same logic can later be packaged into a reusable skill, so I don't have to recreate all of this structure manually every time. This page represents a complete, self-contained reference for the Power BI semantic model, not just a diagram, but a full artifact that captures how the model is structured, how it behaves, and how it should be governed. Having a star schema diagram instantly shows stakeholders how dimensions and facts relate, making the model transparent even to non-technical users. The KPI and measures map turns abstract DAX expressions into an intuitive visual layout of business logic, so everyone can see which metrics drive decisions and how they connect. The data flow and transformation lineage diagram closes the gap between source systems and the final model, exposing where data is sampled, shifted, or enriched, critical for trust and troubleshooting. Meanwhile, the table and column reference turns metadata into readable, searchable documentation so analysts can quickly understand what each field means and how it should be used. The governance summary centralizes rules around data sensitivity, sampling, offsets, and thresholds, making compliance and safe usage part of the documentation itself, rather than an afterthought. Taken together, this isn't just documentation. It's an operational control plane that makes the model discoverable, auditable, and far easier to maintain over time. This is the future of documentation, not something we do later, but something that ships with the model. With Claude connected to Databricks, Power BI, and Atlassian, teams can auto-generate living, visual, and governed documentation on demand, turning complex pipelines and semantic models into clear, consumable artifacts in minutes, not days. So here's your call to action. Pick one critical model or data product in your organization, plug it into this workflow, and let Claude generate its first documentation page. Then, iterate, refine, and turn that prompt into a reusable skill, because the next time somebody asks, "Where's the documentation?" your answer won't be a folder. It'll be a live, up-to-date Confluence page built by Claude and maintained by conversation. Thanks for watching.